Hey,
Hey, oh, sorry, I'm just setting up my recording on the.
you're all good, man.
Uh,
We wanted to talk about a couple things. This year's been crazy. First of all, it's been a really
mhm.
crazy year for us.
Personal growth and
Yes.
business growth, which has been tremendous, and
Yeah.
um, we're super grateful. I moved out to LA.
hmm
Um,
I moved out to Austin, both
mhm.
huge podcast towns, which has been really cool.
I just got engaged,
Yeah.
and Alec has a newborn on the way.
Yeah.
So,
So it's been huge. A lot of spiritual growth, I would say, is the main thing that we keep returning to whenever we have these check-ins. It's all about spiritual growth, less
mhm.
about, and financial growth for sure. The company's become something that we never expected. But yeah, spiritual growth, I would say, is the one, is the word that keeps returning.
Well, last year during the check-in, I was in rehab, which I
Yeah.
think a lot of you know, and a lot of my kind of re-entry was really kind of had a lot to do with making content and putting kind of that obsessiveness towards the business. And so that's when I opened up. We have now a merch corner, we have an artist roster, we're working on food. So these are all the kind of things that both Alec and I never thought was, frankly, we never thought it was possible.
I mean, when we
And
started this in 2020, it was like just a one-off fun thing to do, which is absolutely spectacular. That's the word that comes to mind.
well, that's also why we're talking tonight, right? Because first of all, we have a lot of big announcements that we're really excited to share with all y'all, but also we do have some things that we have to apologize for.
It's the end of the year. 2025 is on its way, which is going to be a great year, I think. A lot of new change, a lot of exciting things. But first, kind of, we wanted to apologize and then talk about the things we got wrong over the past couple of years.
Formally, we would like to apologize for the food drive.
First of all, it's really unfair to those kids over everything. The kids are the ones who suffered the most. Second of all of you who donated, the food drive was one of the most embarrassing stains on my career. And I don't want to speak for Chris, but I know that he
No,
felt
yes.
he felt mortified by the footage that came out.
Yeah, and we also want to not to vet any sort of responsibility because that was me and Alex. We did hire these people with the intention that the food would be safely delivered.
Oh, and we fired Randy too.
And we fired Randy, and you know also in Randy was recommended through a network of entrepreneurs that we were kind of running within, which actually I don't know if y'all know, but that's also now it's an app and we actually have it. We have some stake in it, and it's called
Yeah, it's called Live Moss. We're still working on because it's spelled differently. It's like Live Mass because Taco
yeah.
Bell, obviously.
Mhm.
But we're still working on the name. But for now, Live Moss. You can get a coupon right here. Should be
Mhm.
pointed to when I post this
Yeah.
on the YouTube.
In short, this is a tangent, but we were talking with these entrepreneurs in a network, and now there is a formal way to kind of connect with mutual entrepreneurs. And so this kind of like within the Live Moss landscape, there are tokens, right? Every time you're engaging with your network, that means that you're getting fractions of tokens. And every time you're messaging with common entrepreneurs, then that is also when you're getting fractions of tokens. So I believe it's for every 3 messages you send, and every 3 messages you get as a response, that then gives you a quarter of a token.
We're trying to find a way to get Bitcoin involved and
Mm-hmm.
Dogecoin too. We're actually dropping both. We're dropping Live Moss in Austin and LA,
Mm-hmm.
because these are cities where
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs come to really thrive, and they're hot with energy, and they are throbbing to make connections and make something from the ground up. Which
Mm-hmm.
CryptoCon comes every year to Austin, which me and Chris attended last year, and we
Mm-hmm.
have photos which we'll put right now in the video. It was amazing. It was a great time to meet
Yeah.
people who we're at the intersection of all the things which we care so much about.
Right. Whether that be arts, culture, business,
Fitness,
kind of fitness. Fitness is a huge one, which is that's something that we've also been
health.
working with one of the artists on our roster with about a fitness deal, which is
Hmm.
a little bit under wraps right now, but
Hmm. Look out for
it's
it.
very exciting and it's gonna change the whole musical landscape. I think it's gonna be the single most thing to change music since streaming.
More to come, but we'll have a whole video about that too.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so 2024. Let's start January 1st, 2024. What happened, Chris?
So I was in a rehabilitation center and Alec came and I don't want to say broke me out, but essentially he signed me out. And it was at a point where I don't even know if that was what people were recommending me to do, but Alec took it under his own liberty to then take me out of the facility and bring me back to New York, where we were both living in a shoebox at the time.
In Williamsburg.
Um, in Williamsburg. And so from all throughout all of January, February, and April, we did, or I'm sorry, it's January, February, March. Really kind of the first 3 months I like to think of it as, and forgive me for being lofty, but I think of the beginning stages as kind of like the big bang of the new ILJP, right? So it starts off, I'm in shambles, my soul is here and my brain is here, right? My heart is here, and there's my libido. I wasn't focused on anything, and I wasn't channeling my energy into something that could be for something that I could pass down to my children, share in the mutual wealth and bask in the uh, sunlight of success with someone like Alec. The first 3 months we're working on this, they're just ideas, and it really kind of was the most beautiful, I think, the most kind of in sync I've ever felt with Alec creatively, because we were just bouncing ideas off of each other one after another. It was, well, maybe this could be an app, or maybe this could be a restaurant, or maybe this could be a fitness brand, or
Or
and so we would just
a pair of pants or a shirt, even more abstract. Like I think
mm,
that's what I want to hit on is like
mm,
this could turn into an Apple. This could turn into a iPhone. This could
mm,
turn into
a branch or a stick.
yeah, yeah. Continue, sorry.
No, well, I wanted you to take over from here, Alec, because I think that sets
Mhm.
kind of a good.
Yeah, it was an ambitious
Yeah,
time. Yeah, 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 I
yeah.
can take it. Yeah, so it was an ambitious time. I mean, I think especially Chris's brain post rehab, post detox was fresh and ecstatic in a way that I was very excited about. I mean, he was thinking in this abstract way. He was living on my couch at the time, but he would come in the morning, every morning, with a new idea of what we could change ILGJP to become, which was just massive. I think one of the big things we kept talking about was spiritual healing. I mean, it's no secret this country is in a place that needs a lot of healing, to say the least. Politically, I don't care where you stand. That is so part of our platform. You can come waving a Kamala flag. You can come waving a Trump flag. You can come waving a Biden flag. You can come waving Bernie flag. You can come any type of political thing. Elon Musk. This is a space where you're all welcome, and because we're all essentially trying to figure out the puzzle pieces that connects Trump to Bernie, that connects Kamala to Trump, that kind of makes them all get along because clearly it's not working right now, but that's not because any of them are bad people in their heart. Like they're
Hmm.
just in the wrong puzzle, kind of, which is one thing Chris was saying a lot, especially in those fresh
Hmm.
months. Like the puzzle is off. He kept saying the puzzle is off. The puzzle is off.
Mass media, whether it be CNN or Fox or ABC or TMZ or whatever, they all have an agenda, right? And whereas we don't.
And we have an understanding that you might be different than me and I might be different than you, and that's okay. one thing we really wanted to hit on was that we want to fix the puzzle, we want to solve healing in this country. So one of our first ideas was a healing moment, something that could heal people, and what heals people more than food. So obviously we started the food drive, and we weren't ready. And I want to deeply apologize for thinking that we'd healed before we could heal you all. And so we kind of let Randy take the reins, and I think it was unfair to Randy as well. Even though he needed to be let go from the agency, it was obviously unfair to Randy because he's a totally solid guy, just like everybody else. I mean, he's a guy. And yeah, so the food drive was a mess. I mean,
A literal mess.
a literal mess. You all saw it. Randy eating all the food from the food drive, taking all the money. It wasn't pretty. And then we caught a video on it. And of course, it was leaked to TMZ. And of course, it was super embarrassing for everything we stood for.
So I think really kind of what we were thinking is, well, is this about us, or is this about the state of the world? Is it, because to me and Alec both, I think what this brought out for Randy, and because our mission is to heal, right? In order to prevent someone like Randy to grow up in this way and think that that's okay to do, it made me move to Los Angeles as well, in a real way, in a established permanent residence here. Similar thing to what happened with Alec. We were, we had to leave because it was that humiliating.
And legally,
I digress.
it didn't make sense to continue living there because of the food drive. Because
Right.
It was legal licensing, New York licensing laws, which are frankly kind of unfair.
And so we left, and we were thinking, how can we prevent something like this ever happening again? And then Alec and I came up with the idea, maybe we can start a children's therapy program for people with food issues, so that people can never grow up to become someone like, I don't want to say like Randy, but I mean in the sense that, how do we prevent this energy to not be kind of checked? Because that's another thing that, well, when we both lived in New York and we had the studio in New York, we always had this neon sign above the door. It says, check your ego at the door. Because once you go into the holy realm where we speak, it's just you and me.
It's just
We're
you
just
and
two
me.
humans.
So the food drive was something we had to obviously spend a summer recovering from, and it was a summer of healing. It was certainly a summer of healing. And the second thing we wanted to apologize to you for is that we haven't been posting as much content. We haven't been letting y'all know that we are here, and like just to make you smile.
Because sometimes in the face of tragedy, as opposed to screaming, you meet it with laughter. And this is something that this was fundamental to the beginning of ILJP, because we started it during the COVID epidemic. We all needed some laughing then, and we feel as though we should formally apologize because we left you stranded.
But we decided on some huge things, and one of the big things is this ILJP pod, which is kind of the first step in therapy healing, because I know a lot of our content is not always accessible, the ideas that are under the surface, but there are a lot of ideas. And so we've started this ILJP pod.
And I want to also say that we're no longer working with GoFundMe because of what happened. We don't need to get into it again, but because of what happened, we don't use GoFundMe anymore. There's also going to be, if you use the code ILJP for LibMoss, then you'll be able to get 20% off the first month membership. And I believe if you use ILJP, if you use that code again, ILJP2, then you'll get 2 months free. And then once you get those 2 months free, it will recycle you back into the program, in which you can then redeem 5 tokens at the end of it.
This is the time to get in hot, I would say. Because 5 tokens is a lot, because you're earning fractions of tokens through watching ads and doing little activities. And the activities aren't hard. Sometimes they're physical, just for mental health. Like physical exercise.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're little games like Flappy Bird or whatever.
Their mindfulness exercises too.
Yeah, we have a really good spiritual advisor. You won't be thinking about the tokens,
Hmm.
but the tokens are a nice reward so that you get to talk to people who are in your network and you get to network more.
We're also working on we're working with a lot of kind of modern artists that we both have are huge
Mhm.
fans of. We saw um there are mostly digital artists, so these are
Yeah.
we have a lot of there's going to be an art gallery within the Live Moss, which is an NFT gallery, and those things will be kind of interesting, especially with the meta rollout and things like that. And we're also working on getting an AI assistant that you would have to, obviously you'd pay tokens to, that wouldn't be a free service, but we're also working on coding that right now with someone else named Randy, who's not the same Randy,
Yeah,
but
very different. Yeah.
very different Randy actually. The and we've talked with a lot of investors about this, and forgive me for going off on this tangent, but we've talked to many investors, and they're going, we don't understand this, we don't, what, it's 5 tokens, it's a fraction of a token. And I just pull out here, hold on one second.
This is amazing because he did this in a meeting.
You've been using it all along.
Exactly. That's the entire point.
Think of this as half a token.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
this would make 1 token if you had
Hmm.
2 of these.
Hmm.
This would make half a token.
Hmm.
And then this would make, and so on and so forth. But these are
Just keep dividing as much as you want.
exactly
It's genius. And the rewards are really high. The rewards are really
extremely high.
extremely
Yes.
high. We have some free trips that one could take with a healer who works in-house. We have
Q&A
plushie.
panels.
There's some plushie toys. It's not just digital art.
And that's Alex, and Alec and his partner have been working on those together. And I am not just saying this. I think you guys are really going to be excited about these plushies, and they're both playful, but they're serious, and I think that it really kind of it pokes at a little button and says, "Hey, but what about childlike wonder? What about that for healing, or
As you can see, I'm smiling because it's something I'm really proud of.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's kind of what we wanted to have this first talk about.
Totally." And I want to. I'm just gonna add in this one last thing. I because I interrupted you during the when you're talking about the stuffed animals, the plushies. Sorry, the plushies. I know that you are very because of, yeah. Um, but also that there will be, and this is something that we'll expand on in a later date. There will be Q&A panels online, a lot like this, where you guys can talk to us and you can ask us questions. But those also would be accessible through a paywall, which would be both a mixture of tokens and
Possibly
credit
bit
card
or possibly Bitcoin
or
too.
Bitcoin.
We're working on that too.